I made up this side dish one day while using what I had in my canned goods section of my pantry and my produce drawer, kind of leftover odds and ends. It has simply become one of the most requested side dishes or salads that my friends request and now my family. And I titled it Everything But the Kitchen Sink Salad. So I throw in beans. Sometimes I use assortment of beans like kidney beans and garbanzo, but I always do use garbanzo. So right now I'm using garbanzo beans and I'm putting in some English cucumber. It's one of those side dishes you can make ahead of time. It does well in the refrigerator. You don't want to leave it too long because you don't want the vegetables to get too mushy, but a little bit of time is fine. Today I am making it for a picnic. I am throwing in some shallots here. I love shallots. I use them often in sauteing dishes and in homemade salad dressings. They're a little gentler than a straight up onion to me. I don't think they get as strong. So I'm using some scallions, some cucumber, and next I'm going to put an assortment of tomatoes. I love the variety of colors in this package, so I just think it's real pretty to add a lot of color to this dish because the beans aren't all that colorful, so the vegetables really help. So I'm just quartering and putting in the tomatoes. I like to keep everything bite-sized and manageable. I don't like anybody, especially as a side dish or in a picnic, have to cut anything. So I'm just gonna go even size for the cucumber and tomato, just poppable into the mouth. And I start to reevaluate where I'm at. I end up using a lot of tomatoes because I just thought they were so pretty. So I'm gonna throw a little bit more of the English cucumber in. So I'm just kind of eyeballing. There is not a particular recipe for this. I'm just trying to make sure that I have somewhat of an even amount of vegetables in the salad. The next ingredient I'm adding is fresh squeezed lemon juice. I use lemon in a lot of my cooking and baking. I usually use a regular lemon, but I happen to have a Meyer lemon, so I'm using a Meyer lemon today. I do love the tartness it adds, and it gives a little bit of tang to the salad. So I'm just going to squeeze in some fresh squeezed lemon juice. And the next thing I'll add is some feta cheese. I sometimes use Montrachet cheese or a buffalo mozzarella, but my favorite is feta. I just love the creaminess it adds to the dressing. And then I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil and white wine vinegar. And sometimes I will use a shallot vinegar. Again, it's what you have sitting around, but you want basically lemon juice, olive oil, vinegar, cheese, and then I am adding in fresh basil from my garden. I really do think this recipe requires fresh herbs. I don't think you'll get much flavor from a dried herb. So if you do have any herb sitting around, feel free to use it. I'm using basil today as I usually do. And now I'm going to stir it up. You don't want to over stir it because it can become mushy, but it is pretty hearty. You can give it a few turns, mix up the ingredients, and make sure it's combined. I will also add a little bit of Himalayan salt and fresh cracked pepper. Sometimes I skip the salt. I definitely throw in a little bit of pepper though. And sometimes I will use a few flakes of red pepper flakes. And I tasted it. I just need a little bit more of the herb for my taste. And it's really just what you're looking for. So at this point, you can just modify, add what you feel is needed, or if you're done, that's great. And like I said, today I'm taking this to a picnic for some neighbors and my husband and myself to eat. And so I'm just gonna transfer it. So one handy tip here, when you get leftovers at a restaurant, if they give you a good container, we have one place here that gives us great containers, I put them in the dishwasher and I keep them and either use them to take with us, so you have your own to-go container, or I keep them on hand to send leftovers home with our dinner guests. I hope you try this out. Have a great week.